Alright, so today I'm going to make some homemade whipped body butter, which is great for lotion. It's pretty much most of the lotion that I use is going to be homemade whipped body butter. It starts with a half of a cup of shea butter. Depending on where you order your shea butter, it's going to come either looking like this container here, which is really nice because it's actually like a Ziploc seal, or this one, which is the second set that I ordered, which does not have a seal. It's going to come chunked, kind of like this here. I kind of use my little spatula knife and cut it up and fit it into, it calls for a half of a cup, so I just kind of get it in there as best I can. Some recipes will call for a weight measurement, so if you want to be very precise, I definitely recommend using a weight measurement. I, however, do not have a scale anymore in my house. And I have a quarter cup of coconut oil. Now, coconut oil is going to be, depending on the temperature, hard or a little softer. So you're going to want to dig it out and press it into your measure cup. Alright, so to make the whipped body butter, we need to do a double boiler. I don't own a double boiler, so we're going to create a double boiler. As you see, I've actually got the pan on the stove, and I've got it on a heavy boil. And I want to bring it down to a lighter boil, so about medium-high heat, just kind of a light rolling boil. To make a double boiler, you could either use a heat-safe glass like Pyrex to usually set right on top if it'll sit on the dish. Just be careful for the steam. But mine is too big, so I'm actually going to put a metal pot on top and my glass inside. And then I'm going to put my shea butter, I didn't use cocoa butter this time, in my glass dish. It's best if you can get kind of smaller chunks so that it actually melts a little bit quicker. Your shea is going to melt a little slower than your coconut oil will. Be careful not to burn yourself, so if you need to use a pot holder, use caution and use a pot holder. And then you want to make sure that you're constantly stirring it when it starts to melt. I'm also going to add in my coconut oil, which is a quarter cup, and set that in there. And then I'm using sweet almond oil this time with this mix, a quarter cup, but because I want a little bit of extra moisturization, I'm not going to use a whole quarter cup. I'm going to add a little bit of jojoba oil too. Jojoba is a really expensive oil, so I don't usually like to use a whole quarter cup. I would say I'm using probably about an ounce of jojoba. And then I'm going to add that into there. But once that starts to melt a little bit more, down a little bit. So, alright, so now I'm adding in that quarter of a cup of the sweet almond oil, which just actually comes out almost a quarter of a cup of sweet almond oil, and I added the jojoba oil. You can substitute any liquid oil you want, so if you don't have sweet almond oil, go ahead, put your grapeseed carrier oil in there. If you want to put avocado oil in there, you can. Heck, if you wanted to put just straight extra virgin olive oil in there, you could even do that too. I have used hemp seed oil and jojoba oil. I have added also some vitamin E. I don't know where I put my vitamin E, or else I would have put that in here. I'm heading up north tomorrow, so I expect that I'm going to be exceptionally dry. I can't find where I put my container of body butter, so I figured it was time to make some more, so I would have some. But any of your carriers are great ways to add some extra moisturization into it. You can also mix out your butters. I chose shea butter. You could also do mango butter or even cocoa butter. Cocoa butter has a very chocolatey smell to it also. I haven't bought cocoa butter yet, but I do want to. I have cocoa butter in mind for my next order, so I think it'll be exciting. Shea butter does have a, when you're first melting it, a kind of, I don't know, like an earthy, waxy smell. But when you add your essential oils to it, it definitely fades away. It's a very neutral smell to me. Some people describe it as a little smelly, but I think it's definitely got kind of a waxy, earthy smell. But I don't mind it, especially if you're going to add essential oils that have a stronger smell to them, that just kind of cancel that out. I think if you're going to use a cocoa butter, though, based body butter, you probably want to stick with a essential oil that's going to complement it and be maybe a softer smell to it, like maybe a frankincense, or even maybe a lemon. That might smell really good, or orange. You know, smells that might complement a chocolate smell. So we're starting to melt down just a little bit more, and I'm going to show you guys that. So what you're starting to see is it's starting to melt just a little bit. And a lot of that's the coconut oil melting. You want to still continue to mix it as it goes, so you don't want it to sit in one spot too much. Alright, so this is what it's going to look like when that last little bit is finishing up. See that last little nub there? So you just want to make sure you get every little bit melted. And as soon as that last little one is melted into the liquid mixture, I'm going to set it actually into my refrigerator so that it sets up. This liquid needs to be almost completely a solid again. You can also put it in the freezer to make it a quicker set, but do not forget it. You do not want it to freeze. Alright, so when it sets up, it's going to look a little bit like this. And then I'm going to come in. It's really nice whip consistency, kind of like whipped butter actually. It kind of just melts off your finger also when you add it to your body. It's going to be a little bit oily at first, but it's very, very hydrating to your skin. I'm going to actually add in Stress Away because I feel like that's the oil that I'm going to need the most in the coming weeks. So I'm going to add a few drops to that and then mix it up and put it in a container. And that's how easy it is to make with body butter.